Welcome back to Golf Extra. There are still a lot of questions to be answered about the PGA-LIV merger and what it means for the golfers on the tour going forward. One big question that remains to be resolved is what will happen with prominent sponsors of both individual golfers and significant events on the new-look PGA Tour. Stay tuned here on Golf Extra as we go through all of the latest information on what the business side of the future PGA Tour will look like. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more videos just like this one. Now, let's get right into clarifying all of the confusion about sponsorships on the new-look PGA Tour. When LIV Golf split off from the PGA Tour, taking several prominent players with them, there were lots of questions. Among the larger questions were what would happen to players' sponsorships as well as who would sponsor the LIV Golf events themselves. In the end, many sponsors decided to break ties with the associated players and events, both due to alliances with the PGA Tour and due to ethical concerns around the Saudi Arabian government, chief overseer of LIV. Now that the two have merged, what will happen to those sponsorships? A recent CNBC article sought to answer those questions, asking several prominent legal professionals and subject experts what could occur. Henry Hauser, an antitrust attorney, made comments in regard to PGA Commissioner Jay Monahan's earlier assertions that the merger would negate some of the tensions with both consumers and marketers, saying, "The commissioner's statement that this is necessary to end all this tension leaves the question of what do we mean when we say tension. That could be from a competition angle, which is a good thing for pricing and consumers. It could also mean tension in the sense of a distraction. It makes some sense that the general tension of the conflict between LIV and PGA would be resolved by the dissolution of the conflict and lawsuits between them. However, there's also a school of thought that the newfound association with the LIV Tour and its Saudi Arabian backers could bring additional negative press to the PGA Tour, but more on that later." The article also received comments from Samson Yimer, a sponsorship consultant, who commented on the potential attractiveness of the PGA Tour to brands based on the newfound merger, saying, "The fundamental reason why the brands we work with decide to invest in sponsorship is to leverage the power of that equity to connect with their customers. When that equity is degraded in any sort of way or has potential to do so, it causes these brands to potentially rethink their investments or to press pause." Yimer also supported the theory that the merger could ultimately have a cooling effect on sponsorships for the PGA Tour, at least temporarily, saying, "If it's at all a consideration, it's something we counsel our clients on. I imagine this deal could have a chilling effect. It's doubtful that's what Jay Monahan and the rest of the PGA staff want to hear, but it may be a reality at this point." Timothy Derdanger, an associate professor of marketing and strategy at Carnegie Mellon University, had a bit of a different point of view in the CNBC article, citing the fact that antitrust concerns might be alleviated as part of the deal. In addition, he said that the deal would likely attract advertisers due to the addition of more value, both in purses and quality of play, saying, "If the deal will be able to show it supports the growing purses for the golfers and lead to more engagement and innovation to golf, which adds value to viewers, I don't see much of a fight coming from the U.S. government." In his opinion, Derdanger believes that LIV players will be able to regain their original sponsors, saying, "The players that left and lost their endorsements, they will be able to re-engage those sponsorships and endorsements because this brings them back into the fold." That's a key point, because the LIV players did lose a fair number of sponsors, and big ones too. Remember back in June 2022, when a host of prominent PGA players decided to jettison the PGA Tour for a payday with LIV Golf. There was a quick response from those players' sponsors. At the time, it was hard to tell whether this response was due to the tenuous ethical connections between the Saudi government and several major world issues, including the tragic terrorist attacks of September 11, 2001, or due to the connections between these organizations and the PGA Tour. One example included Rocket Mortgage dropping Bryson DeChambeau. The organization also sponsors the Rocket Mortgage Classic, an event on the PGA Tour. Another good example of a sponsorship company is RBC, which hosts several significant PGA events each season. When Dustin Johnson and Graham McDowell left the PGA Tour for LIV Golf, RBC immediately terminated its sponsorship with both of them. Finally, there's Phil Mickelson, whose iconic sponsorship with KPMG has been front and center at a number of major events over the years. When Mickelson became the headliner of LIV Golf's lineup, leaving the PGA Tour in the process, KPMG immediately dropped him, as did some of Mickelson's other sponsors like Heineken and Workday. Part of the conundrum going forward for the PGA Tour is the fact that they, led by Monahan, took a firm stance against the Saudi-backed LIV in part because of their alleged involvement in the 9/11 attacks. The change of heart shown by the PGA Tour merger runs counter to those ideological stances and was met by intense criticism. Following the announcement of the merger, Terry Xtra, 9/11 Families United chairperson, made the following statement after the merger. Mr. Monahan talked last summer about knowing people who lost loved ones on 9/11, then wondered aloud on national television whether LIV golfers ever had to apologize for being a member of the PGA Tour. They do now, as does he. PGA Tour leaders should be ashamed of their hypocrisy and greed. Our entire 9/11 community has been betrayed by Commissioner Monahan and the PGA, as it appears their concern for our loved ones was merely window dressing in their quest for money. It was never to honor the great game of golf. Those are strong words, but it seems well-deserved given the total flip in stances by the PGA Tour. These criticisms won't be stopped anytime soon if players don't also take a strong line in favor of the families affected by this tragedy, something that LIV golfer Bryson DeChambeau didn't take heed of in recent comments about the Saudi connection to 9/11. In comments regarding the attacks, Bryson said, "Well, I think we'll never be able to repay the families back for what exactly happened just over 20 years ago, and what happened is definitely horrible. We're in a place now where it's time to start trying to work together to make things better together as a whole. I have deep sympathy. I don't know exactly what they're feeling. I can't ever know what they feel, but I have a huge amount of respect for their position and what they believe. Nor do I ever want anything like that to ever occur again. I think as we move forward from that, we've got to look towards a pathway to peace, especially, and forgiveness, especially if we're trying to mend the world and make it a better place. I think this is what they're trying to accomplish. LIV is trying to accomplish. The PIF is trying to accomplish. We're all trying to accomplish is a better world for everybody and a way to provide great entertainment for everybody around the world." If you're not totally on board with those comments, you're not the only one. Xtra immediately pushed back against Bryson's comments, saying, "Bryson is either completely unaware of the Saudis' involvement in the 9/11 attacks, purposefully ignorant, or falling in line with what his wealthy paymasters from the kingdom have commanded him to do, spew their talking points." The more important question which he overlooks is how are we supposed to forgive an autocratic government which for more than 20 years has fought transparency and accountability every step of the way and still refuses to take any responsibility? In Bryson's view, the families and survivors of 9/11 should simply just look away and forget? Unlike Bryson, his other LIV teammates, and now the PGA Tour, we will never forget. We will continue to fight for accountability and transparency when it comes to Saudi government involvement in 9/11. As you can see, the merger poses a number of challenges for both the PGA Tour and LIV, which sponsorships will definitely play a role in, like it or not. What remains to be seen is how will it all turn out? So, do you think that LIV players will regain their sponsorships? Do you think the PGA Tour will lose sponsors as a result of the merger? Be sure to leave us a comment with what you think down below. Make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you can watch our latest content updates as soon as they drop. We'll catch you in the next one. Have a great day.